Oh, I've known Ivy for about 13 years now. She's always been athletic. Ivy sets herself a goal, and then she does it. It's an accomplishment.
Very determined.
Ivy is 66 years old. She has about 4.5% vision.
I think she's a great girl.
So now I know why they call you Poison Ivy.
I bowl, curl, swim, carpentry, cross-country skiing, hiking. I do anything.
And somebody mentioned, you go jogging every day. So they mentioned, why don't you go in the Canada Games? So she right away, the challenge was there, and she went to the CNIB, and got her going. So she went in the Canada Games, And while she's there, Ivy is full of spirit and she likes to win.
Yes, I like to win.
That's her, ambition. She got to win. And she does too.
She's got a lot of spunk. She should actually be in long distance running rather than the short distance running. In all respects to Ivy, she complains a heck of a lot, but she's the only one who can get away with it. Like, for 10 months, we heard about somebody who ran in front of her on the track, which in my mind is totally impossible. She said that the person she was running with was holding her back.
I can see your face, but if I was to describe exactly what you really look like and what color your eyes were, if I didn't know, I wouldn't be able to tell you see? Like if I'm walking on the street and I'm looking for a certain store or something, and I go like this and I have to look around to see, to get just where I'm at, But I manage pretty good. When I was born, my mom had a midwife, and she said she knew how to do everything, And when I was born, well, she didn't know how to do anything, and so my dad had to rush to get the doctor. And by the time they got back home my mom was very ill. She'd gone into a coma. And the doctor said, never mind the baby, just save the mother. So they put me aside and never washed my eyes out or anything and worked on my mother. So a few days later, my eyes were beginning to look kind of funny. So the doctor thought that it was just a cold I had got in my eyes. And so my dad, a few days later, my dad says, that's no bloody cold. He says, there's something wrong with that child's eyes. And 2 or 3 weeks later, then they realized that I was going blind, and they couldn't do anything about it. Like with somebody that's always had sight, of course, can't fully realize what it is to be blind. I live alone, and I like it. I've got my own little pension, and not much, but at least I'm independent. And I like to be independent. I do all my own housekeeping and shopping and everything. Another thing that reverts back to my mother, because when I was a little girl, my mom used to teach us all. Well, she had 14 children, and she taught every one of them to clean, bake, and cook, and clean properly. And the neighbors used to think she was mean to me because she used to make me work, well, teach me to work, I should say. And she said, well, if anything happens to me, she says, who's going to look after her? She'll have herself to look after, so she might as well learn now. Of course, I have a few difficulties getting around the house, like if I'm going out of the dining room into the kitchen and into the hall. Sometimes the door is a little farther closed than I imagine it was, and I go smack right into it. And sometimes I walk into a wall. I get a few bumps and bruises, but it's all in a day's work.
Come on, Ivy. It's time for a cup of tea. Come on.
nuisance. Why don't you just get
I make
your
it
own
nice and hot for you. Oh yes.
Turn around and I'll make you hot.
I bet you.
And as I say, I haven't been completely blind from birth, you see. And therefore, when my eyesight was a little bit better, I depended on my eyesight. Now I got to depend mostly on my hands now because my eyes aren't as good now as they used to be. But I always say, even now, if I had a little bit more sight, I'd go back into nursing. I love nursing. I love nursing people. And I was doing nurse's aid work. And first of all, before I got into the nursing in the hospital, I went in as a floater. And that was working in the diet kitchen. And then I was on trays. And they saw how nice, how well I did with the patients and everything else. And they said, did you ever stop to think about going into nurse's aid work? I said, oh yes, I can do it, you see. So I did. See? But then I could see to feed a patient and that I wasn't feeling around their mouth and stick the spoon in, which I would have to do now,
118, 120.
Hang on, man.
That's it, lads, you got him.
Attaboy, lad. Take a bow, lad.
Okay, Ivy, you're on.
Every Saturday I bowl. Lousy, but I bowl.
Atta girl, right about there, Ivy.
Never mind him, Ivy.
Yeah.
Come on now, come on. That's good. Pretty good.
I was at a tournament in Seattle. I should have got the high single trophy, but they ran out of them, so I didn't get mine. And every time they came up to bowl with us or we met them in Seattle, I asked them, I said, well, where's my trophy? Oh, well, we'll have to see about it. I said, well, this is the third time now. I said, it's nearly 3 years. I said, and I still want that trophy. I earned it, So finally, I got it through the mail. They finally sent it after 3 years. But if I hadn't have bothered, they wouldn't have, they'd have forgotten about the whole thing.
This side, back.
In curling, it's the ice.
It's the
Their
ice,
foot
so,
slipped.
Yeah.
They didn't sweep enough.
Yeah,
Anything
or
else
sweep
but
too
what?
much, yeah.
Anything else but the fact that she just threw a bad rock.
Oh, shut up, Sally. Come on, stop. Come on, stop.
That's it.
Stop.
Look out, Ivy, move!
Stop.
We were going to hit that one.
So this Sam Flat, I used to always go after his rock. He was, opposite team most of the time, And I'd say, well, where's Sam's rock? And they'd show me on our end where it was, and I'd go right up and take it out, And he said, Poison Ivy's done it again. And that's how it stuck. He called me Poison Ivy, so they all do. So out of the whole bunch of them, I was the only woman that went in the carpentry shop at that time. But get Don to get me the tools out and figure out what wood I need. The only thing is, he turns on the drill. When I do the drill, I have to watch because I can't see that drill coming and I can't afford to get my fingers caught in it. Oh, did you turn it? So the first caning I did, I entered it into the hobby show, in the hobby show, you see. So I had all this stool all put nice together, all nicely stained and polished and everything beautiful. Well, do you want the stool or do you want the caning? So I said, no, I want it for the caning because I got the other stools that I got the prize, for. And so I had to take the legs all off and everything else so they could just show the frame of it and how it was done underneath, So I got second prize for it.
Ivy, why do you still do it?
Well, you know what? You want me to tell you the truth? If I stop now, they'd call me chicken.
You've been doing it every year.
Yeah.
You haven't missed a year.
Never
right?
missed a year.
No.
How old are you?
Blind, Ivy.
I'm 66.
How do you spell your last name, Ivy?
Granstrom, Granstrom.
We have on deck here one very special gal, Ivy Granstrom, and this is her 50th consecutive swim in the polar bear stunt here. And Ivy, you are the epitome of something else, really, and I hope you have another half a century. I'm just so thrilled. Wonderful. Okay, thanks, Ivy.
Nobody can live my life for me. Nobody can see for me to a certain extent that if I let my blindness interfere with what I'm doing, I won't get anything done. So I have to live my life the best way I know how, and as good as I know how, and do the best that I can do. And run 3 miles a day. I'll make it 4 yet. I think I do pretty good.
Mm-hmm.